Everyone should be, right? Yeah. No, really happy to have you all here. Where's Kym? Yeah. So we'll just hang out for hour. But guys, I wanted to do this really. We go to all the festivals that we can, all the big ones around the world, and I like to do things like this because our app is about connecting actors, but it's online, and I think in life in general we need connection in person as much as we can, right? And especially in this industry, and I see such like magical things happen at film festivals when people meet. I get stories. I've got my own stories about this, and I've got stories every day from people I meet that say, "Oh my God, I was at this festival, and I met this person, and then I got cast in this film, or I met this producer, and now we're working together." So I just, can you give yourselves a round of applause for just being at a festival? Because that's half of the magic. But when Miss Kym Jackson gets here, I can actually introduce everybody.
I was trying to doing a movie in Tuscany.
These divas, I tell you. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm Darren. I'm the founder of WeAudition, one of the co-founders, my buddy Richard, who I run the site with. He's not here, but he's here in spirit. And these people here, I've come across in different ways, and I'm so excited they've all got projects in the festival. I'm just going to tell you how I met them quickly, and then we're going to get into a chat. I want it to be like a nice little conversation where we're just going to jam about the business. But Damian Bao over here, give it up, Damian. So, I was at Cannes Film Festival and I decided to run a panel in a beach club 24 hours before I actually did the panel. Because someone said, "Hey, we have this beach club, do you want to use it tomorrow?" I was like, "Yeah." I'm going to do a panel about casting, and I reached out to Damian, who was on a plane at the time. I'm like, "You want to do that panel?" Damian cast the first film in Cannes to feature a black trans actress. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. So groundbreaking thing. It did really well, and I said to Damian, "Do you come and speak on this panel?" "I'm flying in, I don't think I'll make it in time." I'm like, "You know what? I know the city. If you jump in an Uber and get here, we'll delay it because I really want you on it." And he showed up with the cast, and it was amazing. We got some good press, and it was wonderful. And we've been friends ever since. We've done some panels in Sundance, and Damian cast Forge, the premiere just then. It's with Kelly Marie Tran and some other people. And next to Damian is the wonderful Cristina. Pronounce your last name. Encarnacion. Did I do that okay? Encarnacion. And so I got a great story about Cristina. She shows up, and this is exactly why I think you're going to do amazing in your career. I decided to throw a last minute party for WeAudition at Art Basel because I was going, and I'm going to Art Basel. It's not a film thing, but let's just throw a party there. We had a venue. And my girlfriend at one point says, "I think you should go talk to that girl, I think she might be one of your guests." So I went and said hi. And she told me she'd driven in from another town just to come to this event, to show up. And it was just such wonderfully beautiful energy. And then a few months later, I'm walking to my panel at Sundance, and there's someone in front of the line, and it's her. And she's like, "Oh, you put the invite out, I figured I'd better come to Sundance." And she got an email and showed up. So she shows up. And then she tells me she's in a film called Forge at South by Southwest. Give it up for Cristina. And I was there saying, "Wait, did you meet Damian and Jean, the director, at the Art Basel party?" And she's like, "No, were they there?" I was like, "I had dinner with them both."
Yeah, we had dinner. Darren and I had dinner with Jean, the director of Forge, right after his WeAudition event at the same venue that Cristina and Darren met.
Wow.
We just never knew that. About maybe 8 months later, we crossed paths in a different way.
Right. I mean, that's the magic, right?
Right.
Sallieu, I met in the back of a taxi in Berlin Film Festival. He was an absolute gent. He was there with the Adrian Brody movie, manager him. And you're just an absolute gent. He's a helper. He's a supporter. He came to Cannes with us. This is a guy that will, if there's a famous director in the room, he will introduce you before he introduces himself. You know, and that's the kind of energy that I love about you and your work, and he's an amazing actor. Kym I met at Cannes Film Festival as well. many years ago. And we then bumped into each other at TIFF. And we've been all around the world, we've done some business together. She runs an amazing platform for actors called the Secret Actors Society, so you guys need to go on that. And because she'll tell you how to navigate the industry, the festivals, the career. She's an amazing human being. It's a shame she's Australian. But, you know, shame her in the bathroom all the time. No, and she's in We Bury the Dead with Daisy Ridley, so give it up for Kym Jackson. I'm going to throw this mic down here now. Can you all hear us okay? Yeah, and so, look guys, I just want us to chat about your experiences doing what you've done, because you've all come up, you're all in films in this festival because of an unconventional way of being cast in them, for casting them, or applying to them. Can you just, and feel free to jump in at any point anyone wants to speak, but talk to me about the casting process and how you all got to be in these films.
Well, I don't mind actually kicking it off. You know, like Darren said, him and I met in the back of a cab. So I was in the Berlin Film Festival with an Adrian Brody, Jesse Eisenberg picture, right? So we did the film. And at that festival, there was a woman there who was actually an agent in Europe. And I'd been manifesting that I want an agent because I want to be global. I don't just want to be an artist in the States, not just LA and New York, right? So this woman and I had dinner, and she's like, I saw Manadrone, you did really well. So she decided to rep me in Europe. So that's London, that's Ireland. And then, anyways, long story short, she gives me this audition for ODYSSEY. ODYSSEY is a film we shot in London. So I audition, I get the role. So I guess ultimately, all these things are connected, you know. The more, they always say work begets more work, right? So the more you do, whether it's acting class, whether you're writing something for yourself that you'll produce, the more you do, the more you get back.
And how did you cast Forge?
Yeah, Forge was really a non-traditional process that also come out of a lot of traditional casting method. So I did, you know, I kind of am known to launch open calls first before I even talk to agents and managers, just because I just like to torture them. No, I work with directors who narrative films often are about people from very marginalized communities that are often underrepresented. So it's often communities that don't have resources to pursue acting or pay for classes, so the talent pool is just really small, especially in the US. For those reasons, community outreach and open calls are important to spread the word and motivate people to have the courage to make a self-tape, you know. For Forge, which is a narrative about two Chinese American siblings in Miami who run an art forgery scheme. And along the way, an FBI agent from New York is sent down to Miami to find who the criminals are. Florida does not have that many Asians. And Texas too, so you can see. I'm actually Southern Asian I grew up in New Orleans. One New Orleans. So the director and I was like, yeah, we need to make sure we open up the opportunity. Just even with the talent pool in LA and New York, looking for young Asian Americans, it's really hard in some ways, just because culturally too, Asians are supposed to go there, be doctors or lawyers, or you fail. Like, you know, so, and the movie is kind of about that, because both of the Asian leads drop out of college. And that's all I'm going to tell you, so you have to go see it. We have a second screen tonight at 9.
Really good, I saw yesterday. Yeah.
But we do open calls, and we also street scout people too, which is myself and other members of my scouting team would, you know, just chase people down the streets, to be honest. And be like, hey, do you want to be in a movie? But yeah, we do that, and then we also do a lot of what I think all of you probably have been experiencing is that randos slipping into your DMs And oftentimes they are scams. But casting directors now and their team are looking for people on Instagram. We're not looking for, and there's a common misconception that I like to correct, we're not looking for numbers. We're not like, those are like the marketing company. They're looking for people with numbers, right? We're looking for people who have, whatever your interests and hobbies or, your community, if you're like active in your community, you're volunteering or what you're passionate about, and you communicate that on your Instagram, like that's what we're looking for on Instagram. So,
Damien, how do you, when you find someone on Instagram, if they've got no acting experience, how do you then get them ready for the film if they're right for it? I mean, yeah.
Oh yeah. I oftentimes, let's say, we find someone on Instagram that sent in a self-tape a Zoom audition was, so you felt like there's something really magical about them, but they're not there yet. We call that green. That's just mean that like, you don't have the opportunity to prepare yet. So oftentimes, many casting directors would try to work with production, the director, to get you an acting coach. And I think that's, or we coach you ourselves. So I think that's the responsibility of the production, and most casting directors would advocate to get the talent more support. For Forge, there was an actor, his name is Chico Smoke. He's a local Miami rapper that I had found in the streets while we both were high and looking at topless.
Trust Damien to have all the sound bites of this thing, right?
but I'm kind of short because I do want to share how open calls do work. In Forge, for the open call, we had it was an international open call, and we pretty much all speaking roles were open, right? One of our lead, Brandon Suhu, he has been acting ever since 10. He's known for martial arts, and he's known to have like a really big TikTok where he just do a lot of kung fu moves and skit comedy. So no one in the industry for the last 10 years see him as a leading man. They see him as a stunt man, and he's still really boxed in. So when he saw the open call, instead of waiting for his agents and managers to submit him for it, he went ahead, downloaded the sides and taped. And so the director saw him, and I saw him in a new light, because when we, at least in my office, when we watch videos from our open call, we don't check your IMDb. We let your performance on the self-tape speak for itself. Because it's your opportunity to be reimagined. And then he got a call back, and then when we finally posted to managers and agents on Actors Access and Breakdown, his manager sent it to him, and he's like, I already take for it, dude. But the other success story with the open call is actually Cristina here.
Who, by the way, is a scene stealer when you see the movie.
Yes.
See the movie.
And Cristina, I'm gonna embarrass you, but I'll try to be short. Hand the mic over. Christina actually had auditioned for 2 open calls that we had last year from our office, and one of them I remember watching her first, and one of them I thought she was great, but she just didn't fit the character in that film. And then for Forge, I had like 500 tapes to watch. And I was watching it for 2 weeks straight, back and forth, and to be honest, somehow it was not. It's a big role to me in that her role does like change the plot. Is that just that open things up. It's a small supporting role, but it means a lot because it changed the plot, right? And I'm watching, and I'm like, all these really wonderful, gorgeous actors, who bring themselves, right? But there was something missing. I watched 500 tapes, like, oh my God, I'm just gonna give up. And that I'm like, no one's hitting this beat, right? It was really weird because you were like, this is such a small role but powerful. Why are we not getting this? And this is from the actors and people, from Actors Access, Breakdown, Casting Network, Backstage, Open Call, like agents, managers. And then I was like, then I checked my Open Call again, after watching 500 tapes, and the role was just like for a Latina, right? And Miami, and I think representation when it comes to Latinos is that it's usually light skin, right? When we think about what that is in America, especially. And our director and producer too, we all kind of had this idea of what Miami is, which is like kind of light skin Latinos, right? And then Cristina happened to be one of very few Black women who submitted. And I was like, I'm gonna, come up, I was like, this is not what originally was on the mood board, right? But when I watched your self-tape, Cristina, I was like, this has to be her.
Yes.
So here's the crazy thing. I shared the top 5 videos with Jing. She came into my office that night. We had because we were working together in Miami. She came in, it was 9 p.m. She was rewriting her script. We sat down. I was like, I think I found Julia, but as my responsibility, I want you to see the top 5, but I know who my number 1 is. And I just show her number 1, Cristina, and she's like, we don't need to look anymore.
Sorry to the other 4. Sorry, ladies.
Did you know any of this when you put your tape in? Did you feel that? Because sometimes we feel like, oh, we smashed that role. I smashed that, Did you feel that?
The crazy thing is, almost every time, maybe it's delusion, I'm a little delulu sometimes, but every time I'm like, I did amazing, it's amazing. I have this feeling like, I know I did my best, leave it on there. For that one, I think I had just got off set from filming something else, so I had my hair and my makeup was done and beautifully, which I never do in my self-tapes, I'm always just me, I show up as me. And for some reason, it just fit Julia, and I was like, okay, and she's, her character, she is the assistant to the art dealer, so I need to look like that. And so I went in the closet and I got this Picasso-looking shirt, but colorful, and I put it on, and I didn't feel like I was auditioning, I felt like I had a job. I just felt like I had a job, and all I was doing was showing them, oh, this is what you're gonna get. Instead of okay, I hope that I get this, right? Let me see, what do they want? No. I just showed up as myself and, as Julia. And I felt really good about it, but I let it go because most of the things that are so big that you want so bad, you can't just attach yourself to that, because if you don't get it, it's so devastating that then it's hard for you to bounce back.
I think everyone here is in that space though, because when you're in that space of you just say, I'm a good actor, I do good work, I've put my time in, we've all put our time in, we are good. We might not be right for everything, but we are good. And so when you find that space where you can say that, I think the work just comes out better and you forget about it, you get on with your life. You get on with living.
And I had gotten the breakdown or the self-tape request that same day. So as soon as I got off set and I got home, it was 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night, and I know LA time is earlier, so I was like, I'm on it. There was no way. I was like, I'm gonna be the first person to submit for this, because whenever you get a breakdown, you never know. You can't wait till the last minute, because casting directors don't have time. And so if you're not one of the first people that they see, they might not even see your tape at all. And you're just over here oh, let me get this tape in before 12:59. At 12:59, no. As soon as I get it, depending on how long it is, if I can get it done the same day, I will get it done the same day. And then it's out.
And that makes you a good actor, because sometimes on set, you need to learn a script in a day, right? And so I always think that if you get it in quickly and you're good, not if you're bad, different. If you get it in and you're good, you're just showing you're a professional and you're taking it seriously, right? And I don't know, same with all you guys, I think I know from Manadrome, your take from Manadrome as well. If you can get it in and set the precedent, then it doesn't matter what comes in after that because they got a bar.
Exactly.
They go, well, that was good. Let me see if someone else beats it.
And speaking on Manadrome, one point I think I should make so we can all understand is this. Growing up, first off, I'm from Sierra Leone, West Africa. Now, kids can be really cruel, right? I remember being called an African booty scratcher. Oh, an African booty scratcher. And I was thinking to myself, well, wait, I don't want to be African. I want to fit in like everyone else. I want to be African American. No, I'm down. It's cool. I'm down. But when you go to Hollywood and you accept who you are, right? Most of my roles that I've booked on big films, I'm playing a character from Africa, my national origin. So that's to all actors, like embrace who you are, embrace your ethnicity, embrace your essence, because that'll get you booked.
I'm sorry, piggybacking off of that, that's why I want to thank Damian and his team, because the fact that they represent so many people that are marginalized, and the fact that they were like, oh, we need this Latina, but then we have another Latina, so then there's two Latinas. Me and Talia are both Latino. We don't look the same, but we speak Spanish in the scene, and that for me was so important because that wasn't originally part of the script. They decided, you know what, Cristina speaks Spanish, let's put this in there. And that for me is amazing because to be able to do something of this caliber in 2 languages and then have people see like, oh wow, she's English and Spanish? Like that is a dream because it is so hard, especially for me, to get any roles in Spanish back home. I'm in Miami, I'm Dominican, and they don't see me as Spanish whenever there's Spanish castings and I go in there like, okay, but that's not what they're looking for. But then I go in for an African American role and they're like, okay, but you're not dark enough. And so I'm just like, well, all I can do is just be myself. Somebody's gonna accept me. Amazing, so.
I think we're going to see a lot more of it on screen, to be honest.
And our director, Jing, actually gave you a shout out on Filmmaker magazine, by the way, in our interview.
I think the only reason you're having that issue is because you're reading for support roles with leading lady vibes. So, when you go for leads, you're going to slay. I think you're going to be fine. And where can everyone find out about your open calls?
On my Instagram. I try to, like, all feature films that I do, I have an open call. That's my rule. We just agree with make sure our production agrees to pay for it so that we can host the videos and you guys don't have to ever pay to submit your tapes. I don't think we should pay. So yeah. So you guys follow where I'm hoping that we'll be able to get more projects rolling.
What's the handle?
Damian Bao, so DAMIANBAO. But yeah, we also sometimes do like commercials open call too. So
I think actors should read, educate yourselves.
I know a good platform for that. Where you can read scripts all day long.
WeAudition, let's go.
Now, Kym, I want you to speak about submissions because we had a chat about, so Kym's in a Daisy Ridley movie, and you went a little bit of an unconventional way around doing that, didn't you? Talk to us about that. How did the experience go?
So my husband and I, we get around a third of our auditions, maybe if not a bit more, maybe 40% of our auditions from self-submissions. Actors Access. I actually have an assistant that does it all for me, which is so cool because she has like a personalized note to casting for me, which is amazing, and I get to be really fast on top of things.
But Jessica, all the ones to you are personal.
Yes, exactly. Always.
Shut your ears.
So I, with the Daisy Ridley film in particular, look, I have one of the best managers in LA, one of the best agents in Australia, one of the best agents in Louisiana. I'm very well represented and covered, so they have me and I trust them and they do so much amazing work for me. And especially in the indie space, we have so much reach as actors because the independent films specifically, the top reps aren't necessarily really going to those regional cities to look for work. And also, sometimes things just slip through the cracks. So I saw something on Casting Networks in Australia where, again, I'm with one of the top 5 agents, and it said re-release of Lieutenant Wilkie. And I was like, re-release? How could they be doing a re-release? I'm perfect for this role. It's ridiculous. And so I was like, I sent it to my agent. I wanted to be a good girl and do it the right way. And they're like, yeah, we've submitted you for this. I'm like, well, they submitted me, but I didn't get brought in the first time. And that office has never seen me, that particular casting office. And I was a little scared of that office because they're one of the top offices in Australia. And I looked at who was doing the local casting in the local region because that's who'd done the re-release. And her cell phone number was on her website. And the company name was Toe Socks Casting. I'm like, okay, this chick's rad, whoever it is. I was like, this is awesome. So I went grocery shopping, I'm like, don't do it, Kym, don't do it. You're not supposed to self-submit, like in that way. You're not supposed to pick up, So anyway, I was like, stop it. So in the Woolworths car parking lot, which is like a Ralph's parking lot in Australia, I pick up the phone, I'm like, she's like, hey. I'm like, hey, I'm Kym Jackson. I've got a square jaw, a deep voice, and 60 film and TV credits. I really want to read for this role. I've got martial arts training. I don't know what this Lieutenant Wilkie is doing. And so anyway, she's like, oh my God, good on you for calling. And she's like, I'm driving, but text me your info. And then we just started talking. She's the coolest chick in the world. We just started talking for like 6 or 7 minutes. Got along really, really well. So anyway, I sent the audition with my coach, Julian Curtis, who's an amazing coach, sent my audition, and then they messaged me directly for the callback. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to get in trouble now because it hasn't gone through the official channels.
I love the way you think about getting in trouble for work.
We get but it is. You do, because so I sort of timed it out and got the email where I sent it to my agent, so like it timed it so it was just after hours, as though they'd have to, they needed this really quickly, so they reached out to me directly. So I sent the callback, and I said to the casting assistant who reached out to me for the callback, look, is this a callback because they really liked what I was doing and I've pretty much kind of got it and they just want to double check because it was only one scene in the main audition, or is this a callback? And she's like, no, the director saw your audition and he was like, well, that's a no-brainer. And so she's like, we just need to see you, we just want to see you double check, see you do something else. No, it's just another self-tape. And so I sent the other self-tape, but I kind of got the message back from my agent, hey, why did they reach out to you directly? I'm like, I don't know. And then it all kind of got revealed that I submitted myself. So I got the call from the agent, Kym, we love you, we know we cannot control what you and Andrew do, you're very unconventional. She's like, but could you just loop us in when you do stuff like that? Just like, let us know, so that we're at least, we know what's going on. And she said, actors of your caliber don't typically do self-submissions. And I was like, well, then I wouldn't have gotten the job.
It's interesting, because we were having a chat at the party last night, and I was saying, after hearing this, I was literally like, I'm going home after this festival and I'm going to employ a virtual assistant to self-submit me, because I've had that ego. I've got a good agent, I've got credits, but I'm not in a film with South by Southwest. And all of you guys are. So what is that? That's telling me something different's got to be done.
Well, I have a system with, well, what it is I'm really busy. I run Secret Actor Society, and I did 60 auditions last year, and so it's a lot. And I've got a 3-year-old, and so at a certain point I was like, I know I should be doing these submissions on Actors. I said, Andrew's amazing at it. Yeah. I just don't have the bandwidth, and so at a certain point I was like, and in life you just eventually learn to delegate, and so eventually I was just like, I was like, she's not going to be able to do it right, because what if I know the casting director or whatever? I was like, no. I'm just that's gonna happen sometimes and whatever, but it's just, I did an hour-long video for her on how to do those submissions, and when I was trying to do them for myself, I was doing them maybe every 2 weeks. Yeah. She's going to every different region, Kentucky, Connecticut, all the different areas. Hey, I work local hire there, blah, 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 and usually, I'll submit as a local hire. Typically, then it goes to my manager, and he'll very politely ask, not as a demand or anything, but he'll very politely say, look, you know, she's doing 3 days at $1,000, any chance you guys could cover the hotel?
Right.
You know, or whatever. And so for some of them, like for instance, the Daisy film, I submitted myself as a local hire, and they flew me there and put me up in a hotel. I didn't have to cover, I didn't have to cover anything. It was on the other side of the country.
I think what
I wanted to mention something really quickly because I have tremendous respect for agents and managers, but nobody's going to work harder for your career than yourself. So you need to do what you got to do, because if you're just sitting around waiting for them, you might be sitting around waiting forever.
Right.
Well, it's also specificity, because if they've got 100 clients or 150 clients or whatever, how could any human possibly remember your special skills or which casting people you know or whatever? So, but
He's all right.
But cool.
okay.
Waterfly.
But so you know, that's an important element, is the fact that you know yourself better than they're going to know you. So it's also helpful for your agent if you have a good relationship with them, and if you are on top of certain projects that are casting or what's going on. I often drop a note from my manager. One of the things with my assistant is if a project pays more than, I think 430 is the lower budget, so anything more than 450 a day, she then forwards me the breakdown. I then send that to my manager with why I'm uniquely right for this role, like, oh, I've got this particular skill, or I have a background in this, or you know, whatever it is, and that way I'll send through essentially the pitch that he's able to send to casting that says why they should see me uniquely as opposed to the other 10,000 submissions.
Well, there's a couple of things on that though. We pay our managers and agents 10% of our income. So we need to do 90% of the work.
Yeah.
And that's reasonable, right? So we have to give them the tools. But the other thing that I thought was really interesting about what you're all saying and about all your projects is there's really good projects out there that are asking for self-submissions. And I think the thing that we often think is, oh, once we're a SAG, once we're here, it's just bad stuff that's out there. It's just people that don't know what they're doing. But massive films.
Little indies.
Andrew calls it panning for gold. So you're going through, and yes, there are, especially if you're in SAG, at least you're, you know, it's union projects. Yes, there are going to be certain ones where you look at them and say, oh no, I've had quite a few where I've found out who the lead actor is, and I'm like, I can't do a film where they're on top of me in the cast list or whatever. And it's not about notoriety; it's about their, you know, their reputation in the industry. Usually, quite famous people who are kind of have moved into like the cheese bucket, and I don't want to be in that on that planet. Or you look at the filmmaker. A big thing is looking at the director's previous work. Even just the producer's prior films. What do the posters look like? If that's a junk poster, it's probably going to be a junk film. So I'm happy to say no to auditions, and then after, or if I want to work with a casting director, I'll often put down the tape and think, oh, okay, maybe if someone good attaches or whatever, we'll see how this goes, and then I might not end up being able to do the role. Typically, I'll try not to audition if that's the case, but yeah, just because you've submitted for something doesn't mean you're then obligated to do the project. So at every stage, you're assessing and really looking at the team. For me, even the production designer, you guys, like without a good production designer, a film's gonna look like shit. Honestly, I think it's one of the most important jobs on the film, the DP and the production designer. I mean, you could get around a bad director with a great DP and production designer and a good script. So it's just about looking at the whole picture as opposed to just, oh, they want me in a movie, okay, I'll do it, or it's low budget. It's like, no, you could, I don't care, I'll do a film that's next to no budget if it's got a great team attached and a wonderful script.
Sally, can you tell us about, I wanted to talk about Odyssey as well, but can you tell us about the manager and audition and why it was different and what you think did it for you?
Absolutely. I was literally just processing Manadrome a second ago. First off, Manadrome came through as Untitled Riley Keough project. You guys know who Riley Keough is? Granddaughter of Elvis Presley. Wow. Daisy Jones in the Six, The Girlfriend Experience. I mean, she's amazing, right? The autobiography just came out, and like I say, read. So anyways, that came across. I think that was my third tape that I submitted that day. And I was just ruthless. You know, in auditions, they say, oh, don't play music. Don't do this, don't do, I'll break all the rules. I'm cooking, y'all are gonna get what I make. You feel me? Y'all are gonna get what I'm cooking. Y'all are gonna keep that up. So, whole production, like, and also equipment, right? I feel like you get in what you get back what you put in. So, I mean, I was shooting on a, 5K camera, I got the backdrop, lights here, lights behind me. Give them a nice picture, right, if you can. So when I do the Melodrome audition, I mean, eye lines are really important. I set up everything. My boys are here, Jesse Eisenberg's character's here. My guy's dangerous, he's African, he's sexy, you know? And at some point, Jesse's guy came for me, and then my boys wouldn't jump him, so I was like, ooh, hold on. So there's all kinds of little nuances and sound effects. And my character, again, was African. So again, actors embracing themselves, right? And I gave the tape. I remember they reached back to my manager at the time, Liz, and Liz called me, Sallieu, you've got to hear them, they're saying about you. They're like, Sallieu's the next big thing. And I thought, wow, thank you. So I would say, you know, have fun. When these projects come across your table, don't put your nose up at them and think, what's this? Give every tape your absolute best. Get coached if you can, private coaching, and stay in acting class too, you know? It's like the gym. No one's just gonna get up and go for a marathon run. You have to stay in shape. And that's why I love class. I train with Yvonne Chubbuck. Shout out to her in her studio. Right, Chris is here, he's also in the studio. So I would say keep your skills really sharp. Read. There's a great book called Powerhouse about CAA.
That's a great book.
Wonderful book.
Who's read that book?
Is anybody here read Powerhouse? It's
It's about the creation of CAA, which
Yes.
is about the creation of Hollywood, right?
Michael Ovitz, they left William Morris before the acquisition with William Morris and Endeavor, right? So they left, created their company, their wives, their girlfriends used to man the phones. I mean, it takes hard work to succeed. And I'm listening to this lady speak and I'm like, oh my God, it's blowing my mind. You can never stop learning in this business. Exercise, read your books, go to class, drink your water, and mind your business.
Well, he was also saying postcards are still a thing, which I didn't know.
Yes.
I stopped doing that. I'm gonna, literally next week I'll be writing postcards telling everyone I was at South by.
I'm sending people vinyls with my face on it. Like, I'm gonna send my self-tape on a record. There's a theme here about you guys just do, and you just reach out, and you make the call, and you do these things. And how many people here will be afraid to call a casting director or call a director or
It was so scary, by the way.
But be honest, put your hand up. If you go, I can't do that. I say, fuck it, I do it, right? Because we're all in business, right? Now, don't be harassing, don't be a creep, don't be this, but it's business, and we're all working together. So we make films together. And when you operate at a level of professionalism, you're just business people doing business. So I think definitely you've got to do that. It just reminded me this one time, I was not in LA for that long at this point. 2008 was the writer's strike. 2008, the original one. 2007.
Yeah.
And so me and a group of actor friends and a director got together and made a web series because we were bored. Like literally, we were doing some scenes, put it up on early YouTube, and we then we developed it into this thing, and we ended up showing it to, my friend has a connection with the former president of Warner Brothers TV. We ended up showing it to him, and he optioned it for television. Now he's the guy that brought in Friends with Mark Hoffman, right? And it's just, we just did. We did it for no good reason except for to make stuff happen. But then making the call, and I want everyone to think about what she said, he said, and make the call, do the thing. This never happened, but we decided to redo it as a feature film. This thing, because we pitched at MTV, we pitched at Fox, and they ended up not buying it. And we had this female character, and I was like, look, this is an indie, low-budget film. We want to be the star. We're not known, so we're going to need a name in this female role. And I was like, who needs to do a movie about two British gangsters on the run with some blood and guts and gore and swearing? Disney girls. I was like, let's get a Disney girl who wants to get out of Disney. And so I literally looked up Selena Gomez and Vanessa Hudgens, right? And I found an email for her production company, her momager, and I emailed him and said, here's a series, we'd like to chat to Selena about it, right? People are like, you didn't just call me. I said, yeah, whatever. 6 months later, I get an email back, and I'm in a car, and I'm in the show notes. There's a theme here, I'm in the Ralph's parking lot. No, actually, I think it's the Whole Foods, I'm a bit classier than that. And I get this email, and it was Mandy, Selina's mum, going, we watched the thing, we love it, I'd love to chat to you more about this project. And I was about to email back, and then there was a phone number on there, and I was like, actually, a phone, so I called. How's that manager? She's like, yeah. I said, oh, you just sent me an email and you want to hear more about the thing. And we started chatting, and I said, well, I'm just down the street. She said, oh, pop in. So I drove, I think they were in Tarzana, so I drove like 2 miles down the street, and from like 20 minutes from getting that email, I'm sat with Selena Gomez's mum talking about how Selena can be in this project.
Wow.
Right? And then we developed it a little bit. We ended up not doing it. She went through 13 reasons why and all these things. But it was, for a minute, I was like, what? and our script went to Selena's team and they were presented to her at TIFF and all these, and I was like, the things that can happen when you just make the call. And someone can say, no, it's fine. But and now I have a good relationship, and there might be something in the future. So I think, and again, getting back to you all being at film festivals, these conversations are happening all week long here. So keep in touch with them. Cristina, yeah, go ahead.
You never know who you're gonna meet. I've been in this business for 13 years, and this film screening here is this is a long-term goal for me that I achieved, and I'm very proud of myself. I took the long way, guys. But last year was actually my first year at South by Southwest, because I didn't know before that you can go to these places. I thought, oh, you have to be in the film. Oh, you have to be invited. I didn't know you could just buy a pass and show up. So when someone told me that, it was like a light bulb, something switched, and I was like, oh, it's time to invest in my career. And I came for the whole thing. It was very overwhelming. I got the platinum thing, whatever. But I felt so small. I felt so alone, and I was afraid to talk to anyone in the room, and I don't know what came over me, but I was like, but you're here, that's all that matters. And I said, one day, I'm gonna be in a film that screens at one of these big festivals. And a year later, here I am. So, living proof, y'all.
I just want to say, on the film festival, guys, right? When you come to a film festival before having a film, I was going to Sundance for 20 years, and then 2 years ago I had a film at Sundance. I'm so glad, and so did you. I'm so glad that I've been going for so long, because I know the festival at the back of my hand. I knew to have a driver, I knew where to stay, I knew to get to my premiere an hour early, unlike my friends who missed their own premiere because they thought the Uber would genuinely take 15 minutes. Right? So they flew there from Hawaii and they missed the film. Right? And it's like, you just navigate these things, and I really believe that by you coming here, you sort of put it in the universe for yourself. And I mean that slightly woo and slightly scientifically. It's like you're here, you're part of the fabric, the culture, of course you're going to have fun.
Yeah, I was waiting, I was one of those people that, I didn't know how any of this worked, but I'm very I have a lot of anxiety and I'm very meticulous about things. So I managed to get express passes for most of the main films at Paramount, which a lot of people could not, and I was like, maybe I just got lucky, I don't know. And then I would stand in the line 2 hours before to be one of the first people to get the express pass, because just because you have the pass doesn't mean you're guaranteed a seat, unless you're one of the ones in the beginning of the line. So I spent most of my time just waiting in the lines at this festival. And
actors are actually some of the smartest people you guys will ever come across. If you listen to actor retrospectives and you listen to these people talk, they can recollect dates, times, exact locations, other actors they worked with, casting directors they worked with. So a lot of these people up here, I would say everyone in this room as well, is extremely intelligent. So don't undermine or underestimate the knowledge and the power you have. Let's just all continue to just take initiative.
I'm gonna just add one tip that I thought would be good to share with you guys before we wrap. Is that when you do your slate, right, and it's just name, location, height, if the role is something that really resonates with you and the character is someone you relate to, family background, geography, certain experiences, abilities or disabilities, spend about 30-second to 2-minute, no more, one paragraph, right after you state your height and location, and talk about how this role is meant for you. Slide that in. It might make a difference.
That's a good one, because they can always turn it off if they don't want to watch it, but then it's in there, and if the director and the writer are passionate about the project, that's going to stand out.
Right. Do you have any questions from anyone in the audience? No?
Come on, don't be shy. Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Sona. I'm an actor and writer and USC graduate. I would love to know from any of you how you feel about social media and how you feel about content that is not related to acting on social media in terms of being positioned as more of a content creator or influencer. I definitely resonate with the volunteer work and the community work that I've done. But what about things that can be seen as more content creation?
I think it's really important to make sure you consider the brands and the studios and networks that you want to work with, and make sure that your content doesn't do anything that is in conflict with their brand. So if you're in the age bracket where you want to work on Disney stuff or CW stuff, you don't want to be posting anything with alcohol or implying partying. If you're going to put bikini photos, they should be classy, not looking like they've been taken in somebody's garage by a creepy rando who is going to make you a star. So I think it's not necessarily, in my mind, it's not necessarily, oh gee, you've got 40,000 followers, suddenly we're going to cast you. It's more actually on the other side of, is this someone our brand wants to align with, and is this someone we feel we're going to be able to trust? First of all, on set. Second of all, on their social media and what they're going to say with their political affiliations and how passionate they are about them. With racism, anything that implies anything that's discriminatory in any way. So you want to make sure that you're presenting a version of yourself that the studios and networks will want to align with. I think outside of that, it's just be yourself. Is my opinion.
Yes, I mean, we also happened with Amelia Perez, that whole situation. So yeah, we better be careful with what we put out. So as far as the social media question, so I actually got one of my first direct offers based on what they saw on IMDb, what they saw on social media, and my webpage. So, I'm a father. Shout out to my kids. I've got a 13-year-old and a 9-year-old, Aisatu and Sallieu. So I'm a father. I work out, I exercise, so they saw that, right? And I'm also a registered nurse as well. So I've got a degree in nursing. So all those things align with the exact role that I got a direct offer for. And I got to film in Atlanta for 2 months, great pay. So I would say just, you know your own brand. I'm a father, I'm very serious about my craft, I'm always in class, I work as an RN. And that's kind of the total package that they saw, and they signed off on it, direct offer. So I would say be yourself to be back.
Yeah, and adding to that, it's there's nothing wrong with being a content creator. It just, it depends on what kind of career as an actor you want, for yourself. And no one said you can't have 2 Instagram pages or 2 TikTok pages. You can be one with an actor, one with an alias, that's a content creator, and start an INC or LLC through that. So there's many ways to do things. Where you can make money both ways and have 2 separate identity. But what you put on Instagram should be more like a mood board of the kind of roles and project you want to do. If you want to be like a Disney star, or do you want to be like an A24, Sean Baker Muse, then it's a different vibe. And so again, it's about manifesting and showing, what it is that your agenda is for yourself.
Thank you so much.
Do you have any points on that?
Me and social media don't get along. I have 2, one for my music and one for my acting, and it's just always oh my God, look, hi guys, I'm doing this, supporting my friends, shouting out my friends, trying to connect with casting directors and other people, but very slightly, because back to the point of don't be annoying with Damian.
Why did you point at me for that?
No, you were saying, Sorry, you said don't like annoy the casting or the people
I'm
here.
joking. I'm being
So with Damian, I don't remember when he gave me like his number directly for some reason, and I saved it in my phone. Did I ever use it? No, because it's called respect. So whenever I reached out to him, it would be through Instagram, a direct message, hey, this is not, and he would reach out to me and say, hey, call, here, what's your number, or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I already have your number. I just don't call unless you give me the yes. You say, hey, can you call me? So it's just about respect. A lot of social media is like, it's there for you to use. It's a great tool and a great resource, but just be mindful of how you use it.
I think a key thing is how do you want to be treated? Like, if you don't want someone hassling your DMs, then it's other people. Yeah?
That's a good question. I don't know, because nobody harasses me, thank God. But if they did,
You haven't looked in the other folder.
oh, and the others, right? I'm one of those stranger danger. Like ignore or run away.
I actually had someone who I could tell was trying to network for whatever reason, trying to network with me. And it's funny because, you know, I usually don't accept friend requests this was on Facebook. I usually don't accept friend requests from people I don't know, but we had like 150 friends in common. I was like, all right, I'm gonna meet this guy at some point. So he's politely messaging, but like, it got to the point where he's reaching out like every week, like, oh, hey, how you doing? Oh, how was it at blah, blah, blah. And I was like, fuck man, I'm busy, like, I don't have time, and I don't want to be rude. And so I'm just like, eventually I just said to him, look, I really appreciate that you've connected with me and that you're reaching out, but I gotta tell you, like, could we tone it down a little? Because I don't talk to my best friends this often. I was like, I'm losing time with the people I love, trying to write back your messages here. And I was like, so just know that you don't need to be consistently communicating with someone to be top of mind with them. And the beauty of what I'm seeing, especially here, but at any festivals, is everyone does want to swap Instas. Like, I swap numbers with a few people, but ultimately I know the people I'm going to be connected with are the ones where we're following each other on Instagram. And then you don't have to DM them because you're going to pop up in their feed and in their stories if they're watching little story bubbles. And it'll just put you top of mind. So when you're doing, what I've realized about networking is it's not about, oh, I've met someone here and now I'm going to like hold on to their coattails, they're going to pull me up. It's, I've met someone here and now as my career grows and as I do the work that I'm meant to be doing, they're going to be a witness to that and they're going to feel involved in that process. And then when the stars align and a role comes up that's a good fit, then we will get to work together, and hopefully at that point it's a lateral move, or even maybe I'm in a position where I'll help their project one day, you know, whatever it is. But it's not, oh, I've met someone here and I have to immediately commoditize that relationship. It's just planting. I always say it's like walking through a field, planting seeds, and then, but you're like kind of going in a circle, and then you kind of come back to that same field, and some of the seeds have died, and some of them have turned into fruit trees, and you got all this amazing fruit you can eat. And it's just a case of, are you going to create a forest, or are you going to overwater those seeds and kill them all as soon as you plant them?
Well, I just want to add a little bit to that. I think the best way, because I hate the word networking, I just hate what it suggests. Just help people, right? And if you can help people above you, in what you believe to be above you, because they're used to people asking for stuff, right? And in the sense of like people reaching out, I have a few that I quite like those. They reach out and say, hey, what's up, how's your day, right? Through both personally and WeAudition.
I'll start doing that to you now.
Yeah,
Let's check in once a week.
I've got you on block already. You're already on block list. But no, do you know what? I respond to really well is when someone is so specific. If someone says to me, whatever it is, if they're very specific, I've got time for it. Like if you say, oh, I'm in South by Southwest, do you know a good place I can rent for my premiere party? Yeah, go speak to David. Yeah. Right? Because I can do that real quick, and it helps someone else out. But if people are like DMing me back and forth trying to have a conversation, just be direct.
And men love feeling useful, by the way, ladies. I mean, everyone does, but especially men. If you can get them to open the jar for you, they feel like they've achieved something with their day.
She's cool.
They're happy.
If they're like a healthy masculine energy.
Yes, good point.
Thank you. Well, listen, guys, we've got to wrap this up. I just want to say, I don't know if Jennifer's in the house. Jennifer, you're around. I want to give a big thank you and a big round of applause to Jennifer, who hosted us. Karen, the WikiHaus, this is their space. What WikiHaus does is there are a bunch of wiki volunteers that help you with your Wikipedia pages. They're doing headshots downstairs, and I want to just speak about this a second. Is when you're on Getty Images and all that, right? When someone's trying to write about you as an actor or a casting director or as a director, they get licensed images to use, right? What Wikipedia are doing is they're taking your shots downstairs and putting them under a Creative Commons license, which means that someone that wants to write about you in the magazine can use that picture because you've agreed to it under a Creative Commons license, and they don't have to pay extortionate fees just to write a blog about you. And what that does is it puts an official picture of you on Wikipedia that you're happy with. So if you haven't been to the studio, it's behind the Step and Repeat. Go and try and get a shot down there. And I think they're here for the rest of the day as well. But big round of applause for WikiHaus and Goodside. Thank you so much. And I'll see you all in Cannes, right? You're going to be in Cannes for us? We have the WeAudition party on the 16th of May. It's the biggest WeAudition event of the year. It's a beautiful mansion overlooking the ocean. You will meet the best people. Thank you for being here, guys. Thank you to you guys. And go eat some food after this.
Guys, I also just want to say that I'm not the only casting director here today. One of my colleagues, a very special and great casting director who really, from everything I've learned and know about her, really championed rising talent and support actors and as an advocate. And she's had not only experience as an independent casting director, but also has been working in the studio. So Jessica Daniels is here today. So if you have any questions, I'm not the only expert here.
Slide in the DMs, everybody.
Thank you guys for being here.
Such good information.